G'day, g'day, how you going? What do you know? They'll strike a light. G'day, g'day, and how you going? Just say g'day, 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 and you'll be right.
For today's prophecy update, it's not going to be our normal live Sunday morning update due to a guest speaker, and I didn't want to interfere with their time in the Word, and also because on another side of this, I had a missions team out from overseas, and so my time of gathering all the news headlines and also processing the information has been very limited in the timing of things. But there's a couple items, again, that does strike our attention as we continue to look at updates around the world. The first, as it came out of the Jerusalem Post the other day, the Arab League warns U.S. Embassy move is a serious threat to world peace. We've mentioned this in the previous updates. But in January, one of the senior Palestinian leaders and Fatah officials warned that the embassy relocation is a declaration of war against the Muslims. So they're dead against it. A lot of the Arab world is against it. But it's really between the United States and Israel is what it should really be concerning. But there is a real uproar if the U.S. Embassy moves from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. On another issue, on dealing with defiant Iran, how they've conducted more ballistic missile testing, this time from a naval vessel. This is this tension that continues to rise within the Hormuz channel, and that's where most of the oil that goes through the Suez Canal area in the Middle East comes from. But the latest missiles are designed and destroying moving targets at sea at ranges of 300 kilometers or 180 miles. So the report on the latest test from the one of the commanders who confirmed that the naval ballistic missile called Hormuz 2 successfully destroyed a target which was 250 kilometers away. The missile test is the latest event in a long-running rivalry between Iran and the United States and in and around the Strait of Hormuz, which guards the entrance of the Gulf. And they said about 20% of the world's oil passes through the waterway, which is less than 40 kilometers wide at the narrowest point. Of course, this is the latest provocation and additional tests conducted earlier this week in which Iran tested fire a pair of ballistic missiles in the Gulf of Oman and subsequently proceeded to provoke a U.S. Navy ship in the area. So the tensions continue to rise within the Middle East. On another issue, Israel fears ISIS chemical attack in Europe. This came out of the Jerusalem Post, how the National Security Council of Counterterrorism Bureau is concerned that ISIS terror might be plotting to carry out chemical attacks in Europe in the coming months. So there's obviously some information that they got wind of. So this is something that is just a matter of timing to see how it unfolds. On another issue, in another part of the world, where we see Donald Trump sends, or could send, for that matter, B-52 nuke bombers into Korea as part of an anti-Kim war games in the wake of the latest missile test by the rogue state. So this came out of the Daily Mail, and also the Sun had this article, how North Korea fired 4 missiles in the last week, 3 of which fell into the sea near Japan. The missile test was seen as a direct threat to the U.S. President Trump. And so Trump and Japan's prime minister say that North Korea threat entered a new stage. And so B-52 bombers are stationed in Guam, may join the annual full of the Eagle military exercise, which involves American and South Korean land, air, naval forces, is what that kind of that acronym stands for, kicked off the other day. And it comes only days after North Korea launched the 4 ballistic missiles 600 miles into the sea of Japan in an alarming show of strength. And so the threat continues to rise within the nation, and until North Korea is dealt with, it's going to continue to be a problematic for South Korea. the area in Japan and China. Speaking of South Korea, there was an interesting report that came out of the BBC that talked about how the South Korean president, Park, was ousted by the court. And so she has become the first country Democratic elected leader to be forced from the office. And so judges unanimously upheld a parliament decision to impeach Ms. Park over her role in a corrupt scandal involving her close friend. She now loses the presidential immunity and can face criminal charges. On the other side of the Atlantic, we see just more disastrous within Canada, this time with the policy of abortion. The Prime Minister pledges $650 million, so a little bit more than what the U.S. had pledged in the previous years under the Obama administration, but they say they're going to pledge $650 million and for the international abortion, sex education, and contraceptives. So the move was announced on International Women's Day, follows the heels of the country's pledge of $20 million to support international abortions as a part of the European She Decides fundraiser. Most Nordic nations raised about $180 million in pledges last week to make up for the loss of the U.S. funding for international abortions provided organizations after President Trump reinstated the Mexico City policy. The pledge on Wednesday doubles Canada's current funding for international abortion and contraceptives, according to the Canadian news outlet Post. Like men and women should be able to choose when and they want to start a family, how big their family should be, and who they should start their family with, according to Trudeau. So it is an interesting story to see how people, they want to take care of all these refugees, and again, they have no concern for the unborn. So something we need to be praying for, that there's a change of hearts and a change of morality, because it's a moral issue. It's an issue that we see where people need to understand that life begins at conception. But abortion is that new contraceptive method. And so instead of teaching and promoting abstinence, they push for abortions if you get pregnant, which has detrimental physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual consequences. Anytime you don't do things God's way, or that is a part of God's design, there will be consequences. There is forgiveness, there is healing and hope in Jesus Christ, but one must repent of their sins and surrender to the Lord for that. And so that's all for today's update. Until next time, may the Lord radically and outrageously bless you.